it's Channon Rose, and today I'm going to be doing a story time video about how I got expelled from school. So if you know me or you have read my book, The Story of Channon Rose, you know that I've been expelled from many schools, but I'm just going to give you one of the stories of when I got expelled. To give you just a little bit of background on my past, before the 9th grade, I had been put in and out of mental institutions. My stepmom tried to say that, you know, I was trying to kill myself. Just like a lot of craziness happened. I shouldn't have been in the hospital, but I was abused severely by my stepmom, so I had a lot of issues because of her. I was on medication for bipolar disorder. I shouldn't have been on that medication, I personally believe, and so it kind of made me do things that I wouldn't normally do, and it made me a little bit crazy. It had like the opposite effect on me. So in the 9th grade, I just thought my shit didn't stink. I didn't care about if I lived or died. I was just a complete rebel. Like, I just got to the point where like I didn't trust anybody anymore. I didn't care what anybody thought about me. I was just gonna be like a badass motherfucker, just get in trouble, and that's exactly what I did. So let's get into the story of how I got expelled. At my school, I had a group of friends. We were pretty popular, and this new girl got sent to our school, and her name, well, I don't know if I should say her name or not, but this new girl came to our school. She had left her old school because supposedly she was getting bullied. She was beautiful, blonde hair, blue eye, tan. She seemed really nice, and all my friends, they didn't want to hang out with her. They just thought that she was like stuck up. They didn't like her. They could sense something that I clearly didn't sense, but I liked her. I kind of understood what that was like, you know. I had been moved from school to school so many times, but because I was getting expelled and getting in trouble. But I kind of knew what that felt like to go be at a new school and not have any friends, and so I wanted to like bring her into the group and, you know, hang out with her, and we ended up becoming best friends. Like, we were close and we did everything together. My stepmom would make me go to these like church youth groups, and my mom thought it was okay. My dad was like, oh, to keep her out of trouble, so, you know, we'll stick her in those things. Well, I had a boyfriend that would go to this church youth group, and Jill also started going to this church youth group that we went to after school. You know, we were all hanging out, and my boyfriend at the time, like, we would all hang out together. And one day at school, I find out that Jill had slept with my boyfriend. Woo, that was a big mistake for her at that time in my life, because I was so freaking mental. All the crazy medication that they had me on, I was just like out of my mind. Just crazy, just on a regular basis. Now, when you start adding in crazy drama like that into my life, shit starts to get out of control. So basically, I found that out, and I was like, I'm gonna kill her. Like, I'm gonna kill her. And not only am I gonna kill her, I'm going to go to her house, burn her house down with her whole family inside of it, and if she doesn't die for some reason, I'll find her at school, I'll drag her by the hair into the bathroom, take scissors, chop her hair off, and drown her in the fucking toilet. And I'm not even joking. Like, that was my mentality on this medication. Now, when I say that, at this time, in this point in my life, I see that I should have been in a mental hospital at that time, just because that's just crazy. Anybody that thinks like that or would act on that belongs in a mental hospital. If you're a danger to yourself or you're a danger to others, you belong in the mental institution. No questions asked about that. And I was in and out of the mental hospital, and Jill knew all of this. So for her to sleep with my boyfriend, being my best friend, I don't know what she was thinking, but it was not a good idea. I told my other friend what had happened, and she was crazy too. My friend Julie was like, yeah, I'm down to burn her house down, let's go. So I'm like, okay. So we steal my mom's car. Mind you, I don't know how the hell to drive a car. I've never driven a car in my life. I have no idea what I'm doing. So I get in the car. I am like pissed. I'm drunk. I'm drinking on my antipsychotic medication, my lithium, Seroquel. Definitely should not be driving. Definitely do not know how to drive. And I get in the car, and I have to go pick up my friend Julie. I'm in the car trying to figure out like how the car works. Mind you, I'm drunk at this point. And so I finally figure out how to get the car in reverse, and I back up and I hit the car behind, where like the cars that were parked behind me. I hit that. So I'm like, fuck. I like just barely started driving the car, and I get in an accident, and I'm like, fuck it, I don't care. Not gonna stop, just gonna keep going. So I keep going. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm like, stop, go, stop, go. I'm using like both feet to drive. It was bad. So finally I get to Julie's house. I get Julie. So on the way to the girl's house that we plan to burn down, we stop at like a 24-hour Rite Aid or whatever to like get gasoline and matches. and they don't sell freaking gasoline at Rite Aid. So, and it was late at night, so we had no way of getting like gasoline to burn our house down. So we're like, what's the most flammable thing we can get? I'm not even joking, you guys. Just keep in mind, I was only 14 years old. I was crazy and very, very stupid, okay? We bought as many like nail polish removers as we can, and if you're wondering like where we got all this money, I stole it from my mom, and I was an awful kid. And if you like want to know more about my past, because this is just like one story I'm telling you, I put all of it in my book. If you want to get that, I'll leave the link down below. But it's on Amazon. It's just called The Story of Channon Rose, and all of this is in my book. We get all these nail polish removers, we buy a lighter, and we go over to this girl's house. We start dousing her freaking front yard bushes and like her garage and all like the front of her house with freaking nail polish remover. So embarrassing to like even talk about now. Like, what in the hell were we thinking? We were like so dumb. We do that, and then we lit it, and we saw it like start to go up in fire, and we freaking jammed out of there because we were like not about to hang around to see what happened, if you know what I mean. And I know that her whole family was inside that house when I did that. It was like awful, awful. But this just goes to show, like, do not medicate children that should not be medicated. And this was, I blame this all on my stepmom. I mean, my parents should have stepped in at some point, but they kind of just like didn't really know what to do. They did the best they could. Then we leave, and the next day I go to school, and I get called in the principal's office. I walk into the principal's office, and they're like, we had a report that there was arson at so-and-so's house. Did you happen to be involved in this? And I'm like, no, of course I did not admit that. They didn't have any proof, so they couldn't keep me there, and so they let me go. So people had been talking. This girl knew that she was fucking in for it. I'm surprised she even showed up to school that day after what had happened to her house the night before. And remember, I don't know how much damage was done to the house. I never saw it. So, since I got out of that very easily, I see that Jill is at school that day. And so I tell my friends that I plan to take her to the bathroom and chop all her hair off and drown her in the toilet. And they're like, okay, well, we're not going to let you drown her, but you can like beat her up, right? I can't believe I did that. I was an awful child, like awful. So just if anybody's watching this, it doesn't matter how bad you are or what you did, you can always change, because I am a totally different person than how I was when I was younger. But I was a crazy motherfucker when I was younger. At lunchtime, one of my friends convinces Jill to come into the bathroom with her. Jill doesn't know, I keep saying her name. This girl doesn't know that I am waiting for her in the bathroom. She walks into the bathroom, and they have locks in the doors of our bathroom, and so once you shut the door, you could lock it so that nobody else could come in. So what happened was she walked in, and when she walked in, one of my other friends that was in there with me locked the door so that nobody else, like no other students, can come in. And I looked at Jill in the face, and I said, I cannot believe that you betrayed me like that. And bam! Punched her in the face as hard as I could. And that bitch knocked down real quick to the floor. I mean, like, I hit her hard, like really hard. I was just so mad, and my adrenaline was going, and you guys, this boyfriend at the time was like not even freaking worth it. He was such a shitty person anyways. Like, obviously he didn't care about me if he's sleeping with my best friend. And I did this all over a boy. Like, really? I could have gone to jail for the rest of my life over some boy that I have no idea who he is now, and he's probably like fat and ugly. Oh gosh, I can't believe some of the things I used to do when I was younger. So I punched her, and she knocks down to the floor, and that just wasn't good enough for me. And so I took out a pair of scissors, and I started cutting her hair off. It was a piece of her hair that was like still long, and I literally dragged her by the hair into a bathroom stall, shoved her head down into the toilet. Mind you, she's like trying to push her way out of her head going into the toilet with her arms like against the toilet bowl like this. So I took the back of my shoe, and I started kicking down on her hands, like where her hands were, so that she would move them back so that I could continue to like get her head down in there. So eventually she, you know, one of her hands came out from me kicking it, and I was able to push her down there. And then I used my foot to push her head like down. So I pushed her head down into the toilet with my foot like as hard as I could. You know, she's obviously like struggling, whatever. And after quite a while of her being in the toilet, my friends finally pulled pulled me off of her because they're like, didn't want me to kill her. Because if they didn't pull me off, I probably would have killed her. And I'm really glad that those friends did that for me now, even though I was really mad that they did it then, because I really did want to kill this girl. She obviously was like freaking out. I walked out of the bathroom like all fucking pissed off, but kind of like proud that I beat the shit out of her. You know, taught her a lesson. So dumb. Oh my god. Then I go back to class. In the middle of class, police officers walk in. They're like, where's Shannon? I'm like, right here. I knew what they were there for. I wasn't gonna try to hide from them. They put me in handcuffs, took me to the police station, and put me in like a holding tank. You know, they had to call my mom, and my mom's like, she's bipolar, let her go, we'll take her to the mental hospital. That's like what they did for me every time, you know what I mean? Like anytime I got in trouble, they would put me in a mental hospital, and they blamed it like that on me being bipolar. That's basically how I got expelled from the 9th grade. I just want to say that I am so not proud of any of that. In fact, it's almost embarrassing for me to tell you this story. I think the reason why I wanted to share this with you was to tell you that nobody's perfect. I know that sometimes people will look at my life now not knowing about anything from my past. Oh, she's so perfect, like I want her life. And you guys, everybody has skeletons in their closet, and most people would never tell a story like this. No one would admit to doing such awful fucking things in their life. They don't want people to know that about them. They don't want people to judge them and think that they're awful people. But I just want you to know, I'm not an awful person. I made a lot of mistakes in my life, and a lot of really bad things happened to me. I just made a lot of really bad decisions, but I learned from those things. Do I wish that I could go back in time and take that all back and never do any of that stuff? Like, of course I do, but at the same time, it's made me who I am today, and it's made me able to sit here and share my story, and maybe, you know, some of you guys that are really bad kids maybe will know that, like, it's not cool to do that kind of stuff. It's not worth it. It's not worth spending your whole life in jail over some stupid guy. At that point in my life, that guy was the love of my life. It's all I could think about, all I cared about. Grand scheme of things, he was such a worm. You know what I mean? He was such a loser because I felt like I was a loser and I had no self-esteem and I hated my life so much and didn't care if I lived or died. You know, I allowed myself to be with people like that. That's my story. I hope you guys like it. If you guys do like these storytime videos, please give this video a thumbs up. It lets me know that you guys want to watch more videos like this. If I get enough likes on these videos, I always will make more storytime videos. So I hope that you learned something from this. If not, I hope you just got to know me a little bit better. If you want to know more about my life, you can always download my book. It's only like $4.99 on Kindle. I have a paperback version, and I tell a lot of my stories and like the lessons I've learned, how I got through all those things and ended up where I am today. So yeah, that's it. Alright you guys, I love you all so much. I'm sending you all my love and all my positive energy, and I hope to see you in tomorrow's video. Mwah!